Yes, so we'll jump straight into it. So the view types. So here's an example drawing. We'll go into that in a moment. And you can see there. It's relatively complicated. There's lots of different view types there. So we have things like auxiliary views when we're viewing something like this, which is a view across here. A detail view, which is a magnified version of another view, and then we also have broken views, which I'll show you as well. All right. So yeah, we'll come back to that in a moment. We'll do a demo. We're going to break it up into like 2 slides and then a demo. So with respect to view orientations and things like that, we also have things like exploded views, and also in our models we can define a 3D orientation which can be then used in the drawing. So we can make use of that information in our 2D environment quite easily. Okay, I don't want to go and spend a lot of time on this. It's a very simple slide. Okay, so let's jump over to Creo, and let's open up our drawing. Okay, so here it is, and just for everyone's reference, I am on Creo 11. I possibly could be running Creo 12 right now, but I don't know anyone that is, so this is Creo 11. And yeah, so let's have a look at the views. So there are some predefined views here already, and we can I just guess visually see what we're looking at here. So this is an auxiliary view. This view is taken, I guess this is view B, which is taken through there. If I am to just double click on that view, I can see that it's an auxiliary view based on a datum plane, which is this datum 8, okay, which will be inside the model, as you can see here, okay. So if we were to attempt to recreate that view, we could go and just choose auxiliary view. We would first, if I would need to, I'll turn on my plane display if it's going to be visible to me, or I can just pick the actual plane in the tree. Okay, if it's not visible, you can see it's there, it's hidden. So you can see as it's moving, it's actually now moving, I guess, orthogonal to that plane that I've chosen. So if I'm to place that down, then I end up with that view. Now that's just the auxiliary view. With respect to this particular view here, they've gone further and they've added in and they're using a particular cross section which has got some other stuff done to it and then dimensions added. Okay, but you can see now if I try and drag that view, it's dragged according to its relevant position. Okay, so that's an auxiliary view. Over here we have a detailed view. Okay, so you can see here detail X, it's a scale. It's actually in this case referring to the detail view from this side. This is from the different direction, opposite direction. Okay, so however, let's say we wanted to do a detail view on this part here. Detailed view, we select that. We pick some point, reference point on an original view, and then we, sketch a spline. And now I'm clicking multiple times around here, and then I'm middle clicking once I'm done, and then I'm going to go and click where I want to place that view. Okay, so you can see now I have my my detail view. It has a scale. This view as well can be, after we've created it, can be changed. For example, the scale could be changed to, 3, okay, and then it gets a bit larger. This is just a magnifying glass onto the original view, okay. All right, this drawing as well has a second sheet with a different model in it, which is something that you can do. We have 2 very simple views here. What I sometimes might like to do is to change this view to a broken view or a partial view. I'm only going to look at broken view here. And if we add something in, basically we just choose a position that we want to break this in. Okay, so effectively I'm saying take out the section in between those two reference lines. And then I have some opportunity to choose like what the break line might look like. As soon as I apply that, you can see that I end up with a break. Now, not probably the best example, but certainly I'm sure you can understand that in a larger model, that if you have those break lines a long way apart, it will allow you to show that. I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but if I'm to put a dimension between here and here, okay, and then I'm to put another dimension between here and here, they're the same dimension. Okay, if I zoom in on that a little bit, so you can see that even though it's a broken view, okay, so it's considering what's happening in the background of the model there. So let's open up the one for view orientations. All right, so view orientations. So this is just a view of an existing assembly. If it's not clear what this is, quickly just will show you. Okay, you might have seen this model over the years. It's been around for a while if you're a long-term Creo user. So with this model, if I'm just to double click on the view, once I've placed it down, we have the opportunity here to do exploded views. Okay, so if I choose the exploded view, in this case, there's a few different options for me. I'll just choose the first one to start with and I'll go apply. Okay, so if I look at that, yeah, you can start to see some more detail, but it's not really very clear. Typically what you'll do when you do a section view, sorry, an exploded view, you select or you create a view in the model that refers to that. So you can see there, I've just selected a different view orientation. Okay. And now that allows me to see that more clearly. I could balloon this, I could, it's much clearer. I can see the individual parts now. Now, some of this stuff can be done in the drawing environment, but realistically, you're better off to do it inside the 3D model. So, for example, if I, and just to open up the model here from the drawing again, if I look in the view manager and I look at these exploded views, I'm seeing the same. If I just click on those, okay, so you can see, I just might hide my planes here, sorry. And these are the different options that we saw in the drop down before. So I'm just double clicking them, and you know, in some circumstances, you might want to show different configurations of explosion, or, you know, if you're doing an assembly process. Okay, now, but when we look at that, we also have these orientations. So, you know, we have that orientation, and so on and so forth. There's all these other ones. So we can create our own orientation. So let's say we wanted to create a new orientation, which is pretty much like this. We just say new, we'll call it demo, right? And then we'll go to the exploded view. We'll activate the engine. Okay, so you can see it's looking at that now. What we might do is like just quickly maybe move a component. So we're going to take that bolt and move it up there. We might take this and move it out there because we need more room on our drawing to do whatever we're going to do. Okay, we just save that. And we'll save that as well. Okay, and then we come back to our drawing. Okay, so we can either add another view, but let's just modify this one. So we'll use the demo view now. So that's the new view that I created. And you can see now that the position of those items is also updated. Okay, so I made changes in the model, but it's affected in the drawing. And that's the whole philosophy of PTC, about being model centric, trying to keep information as inside the models rather than inside the drawing.